The humid environment on a boat does nothing to keep your herbs and spices fresh and tasty. But if you're like me, your style of cooking might be making things even worse. Hi there, I'm Carolyn Sherlock, and on this episode of the Boat Galley Podcast, I share why I no longer season over a hot pan, and why you shouldn't either. First though, let's talk about today's sponsor. Today's episode of the Boat Galley Podcast is sponsored by Sailrite, the one-stop shop for all your do-it-yourself canvas and upholstery projects. From heavy-duty, portable sewing machines to fabric, foam, and everything in between, Sailrite's outstanding customer support and free how-to videos empower you to sew for your boat, your home, and more. Visit sailrite.com to get started on your do-it-yourself journey. Believe me, with their help, I've made a bunch of stuff for this boat that I never would have dreamed I could. Are you like me? When I'm making something that I've made lots of times before, or something that I don't really even have a recipe for, I tend to just shake spice containers over the bowl or pan and judge the amount by eye, particularly if I want just a dash of a particular spice. Well, guess what? It's fine to shake spices over a bowl, but over a hot pan, it's a leading cause of dead spices. Yeah, spices with all the flavor of sawdust. And I've had a bunch of that. I've known for years that heat and humidity were the enemies of spices, and I recommend storing them away from the stove and as low in the boat as practical. However, it never dawned on me that the way I was using my spices was killing them. But it was. I was researching something else, and I found a note on the McCormick Spice website that talked about this. Turning the container upside down over the hot, steamy pan not only exposes the herbs and spices to heat and humidity, but the rising steam goes right into the bottle and it has no way out. The typical heat and humidity on a boat are already hard on spices and shortens their life considerably. But this just adds insult to injury and is actually far worse for the flavor of the spices. Now, I'm trying to remember to use a measuring spoon or even just pour the spice into my hand and do it away from the stove. Wherever possible, I've removed the shaker tops on the spice containers to help me remember too. Now, you want to know the really funny thing? Despite the fact that I read this tip on the McCormick Spice website, every single McCormick Spice that I have has a shaker top, subtly encouraging you to shake your spices into your cooking. I'm trying hard to remember to unscrew all those tops and use a measuring spoon to scoop out what I need. Now, another tip on the site was always to use a dry measuring spoon when dipping into a spice jar. That, at least, I'm pretty good about doing, but every so often, I still catch myself wiping out a measuring spoon with a damp rag and then scooping out a different spice without really drying it, or reusing the measuring spoon that was just in the steam over a pan without wiping the condensate from it. Okay, I'm trying to get better on both of these, and hopefully my spices aren't going to be dying quite so quickly. I hope you found this to be a useful tip for your boat life. If so, please subscribe to the Boat Galley Podcast in whatever podcast player you like. And tell your friends about us too. We love having new listeners. Thanks.